when I left college, I still didn't own a computer. And I was a computer science major for 2.5 years in college, and I switched my major before graduating, but like nobody had a computer. I mean, and if we did, it was just a great big clunky thing that really barely works. But um, it's fun to go back and think about how I grew up and what I experienced and now what's being produced by this next generation of technology.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is an interesting world we live in. I feel like the key through all of it is to be a human first, and then whatever, then participate with the technology, then create content. If you do it the other way around, it starts getting real not good. If you're a content creating human, that's all you are. But if you could be a human first and then a content creator, or a human first and then the technology comes next.
Yeah. And man, have fun
Get the
with
right
it. I mean,
priority.
if you can't have fun, just it's tough when it becomes a job or if it feels like it comes to be a job. I mean, some people are just really good at it and are very savvy on online, but man, I do. I have fun with it. One of my favorite things to do is it might sound, you know, uh egocentric, but I do enjoy opening up, Facebook and looking in the history and what was I doing a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Man, it's been like 10 or 12 years ago now. It's fun to see where I was, where I used to be, and laughing at something that stupid that I said or wrote, or being embarrassed by something that I said or wrote.
That is
Agreed. Agreed.
absolutely.
I mean, now it's wild to think. You talk about nobody had a computer when you graduated college. I only got a cell phone because my house burned down my senior year of high school. I didn't, I mean, we didn't have cell phones, but then it wasn't a smartphone. And it's like that world changed in a weird way. And I grew up, I'm on that edge where we didn't have internet when I grew up, and then we had internet, and there wasn't Facebook, and then Facebook was just for universities, it's EDU, and then like that. So I'm on that, like, the edge of, like, I see kind of both sides of people using the yellow pages legitimately. Like at the first roofing company I ever worked for, they were still putting out yellow page ads and they were proud of it in the yellow pages. And like, obviously that's gone away now. It's a weird, you have to be willing. I mean, it's changing so fast too, because we don't even know what's going to happen in the next 3 years in this space. Like it's going to, there were years and years and years where it didn't really change a lot. And now it's like, well, now if you're not putting it, I mean, you could just pay for Google pay per click and like get leads and be fine. And now it's like such a weird thing. And then the Google local service ads is the same way. I was like the first one to get LSA on my market. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And now that's gone. Now
Yeah.
that's gone. Like
Changes.
now what's next? Like it's an interesting thing of how you have to be always changing and learning.
Well, the first several years that I was a company owner, so I started hand nailing 3-tab shingles on salt domes around the country in 1992. So by the time I started my own company, late 90s, early 2000s, first 3 years, I still didn't have a cell phone. We like the pager, we had a beeper, and different people on the crew would have different codes that they would put in there. Like I always knew who was paging me by they would put a phone number in and then a code behind it. I don't know if you guys even remember any of
Oh
this
yeah.
stuff, but
Oh, I do.
this is how
Yeah.
we this is how we did
I
business.
watched videos about it on the History Channel.
Thank you.
Sorry, that I couldn't resist that one.
So let me challenge you with something like that because I do want to talk about this because we used to talk about this quite a bit when my first few years at GAF is that the the technology actually started making us inefficient. So some
Mhm.
of the guys that were doing a crazy amount of business back in those days swore that once they got the cell phones and it was the demand of the consumer was becoming instant, and so it divided your ability to actually accomplish your projects. And so despite having more and more complexity in the technologies, now maybe that has changed, and that's why I kind of want to bring it up. Maybe that's changed again because now the CRMs are becoming so much more streamlined and efficient that it's becoming more efficient again. But there was a good window of 10 years where people could not produce the month they used to because they were so distracted by phone calls that they'd never been to. I mean, you leave the house, you leave the office, you don't answer the phone or make a phone call until you get back to the office that night. The amount of work that you're able to get done in the course of a day has changed significantly over that time period.
Yep.
Yep.
Protecting your time now is like a big thing.
Huge thing.
Blocking your time. Like it's all because of technology. You didn't have to do that before. You could just leave the house. Hey, I'm going somewhere. If you need me, I'll see you in 8 hours, whatever it is.
I'll
And
be
then
back at 8. Yeah.
it was like, it was weird for people to even think about that not right now. But like, it's all about like not using technology so that you can be efficient. Just like exactly what you're saying is like, it's a weird thing now. And I find myself every single day having to fight the urge to respond to help somebody right then who needs an answer right that moment. And it's like, it's constant. It's probably right now as we're doing it. My phone's probably blowing up right now. And it's just like, you got to just learn to figure it out, guys. Like everybody, you can't just like people in general, they just can't problem solve anymore. And that's a really, really big problem. Doesn't really matter your age. We've been talking about different age groups, but like we have all been trained and accustomed now to just get problems fixed because of technology. And then now no one can problem solve. No one has the ability to sit for a second and be like, okay, what would I do if no one was here? How would I, like, there's just not a lot of people who can do that now. And it's, that is a big problem with the workforce. Whether you're an installer, salesperson, production manager, it doesn't matter. Like people don't know how to problem solve anymore. They just have no ability to do it because they can just Google it and they don't have to look at their phone anymore. They can just talk.
Yeah.
And get the answer.
My wife went back to teaching this year. She went to college as a teacher, got our license, decades ago. Went back to full-time teaching this year, and even the students have changed, the way that they learn, how they learn, and their ability to pay attention and stay focused. There are so many distractions. Man, I would not want to be a teacher these days. I don't know if I could handle it.
No,
You
Cameron,
were a teacher in the past? You're kind of a teacher, right? I read or heard that somewhere.
Yeah, so I actually do a lot of different topics, and it's one of my passions. So I was actually when I switched from a computer science major in college, it was a Christian education major. So I was a youth pastor and leader in church, and so teaching has always been a big part of my life. But yeah, making this transition then, shortly after that, I think I was a youth pastor for like 6 years back when we were all broke.